Good morning and welcome to this great interactive webinar on cloud telephony for business, brought to you by Arkafort and introducing Arkafort Redin. We're going to be hearing a lot more about that a little bit later on. I'm going to be guiding you through the events this morning. So firstly, welcome to everyone who is joining us on Zoom and on Facebook Live. We are thrilled to have some outstanding guests this morning, and our guests include Dr. Andrea DeMarco, who is a lecturer at University of Malta, Christian Kermi, Business Solutions Specialist from Epic, Rosario Pitanza, Channel Manager for Italy and Israel SNUM. Alongside these guests, we'll be hearing from Gordon Grech, Justin Fennick, and Glenn Shortino from Arkafort. Before I hand over to Justin, I'd like to remind you that you are very welcome indeed to ask questions via Zoom and the Facebook platforms on the chat function. We'll try to make sure that we get to as many of these questions as possible. So to welcome and start this morning's discussions and presentations, I hand over to co-founder and executive director of Arkafort, Justin Fennick.
Thank you, Trudy, for the introduction, and good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I would like to welcome our panelists. Thank you for joining us for this discussion with the relevance of cloud telephony. Welcome to all those following us on this webinar via our Facebook page and Zoom. Well, we are very happy to be here with you here today, and very excited, as you can see, to be presenting our latest products. During our cloud platform launch that happened last October, last year, we had promised to continue updating and improving and working on the Arkafort cloud platform. We had promised to deliver innovative solutions every few months and making use of the latest technology whilst being practical and straightforward in approach. And here we are now, introducing a new solution that is built in-house and that reflects precisely our mission, that is being cost-effective, offering a simple solution for businesses. This solution is part of a larger ecosystem of products, which we plan to roll out every few months. This is in addition to the already successful products like data center services, cloud servers, and like other subscription-based models, products, like Microsoft Office 365, backups, antivirus, cybersecurity solutions that are all readily available on our platform. Today, also, we're excited because we'll be introducing a new concept which will allow our customers to test our services free of charge, but also to help the business community in general, especially startups, to help startups leverage technology and be competitive in this fast-moving and ever-changing world. Before I conclude from my end, I would leave the floor to my colleagues. I wish to thank the panel once again. Thank you for joining us and look forward for your presentations. Also, I would like to thank our main partners and suppliers for their cooperation and support. Thanks to our clients who believe in us with their projects and delivery of their requirements and trust us with all their projects. And last but not least is thank you to our employees who are truly passionate in what they do and drive Arkafort forward. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Justin, so much for taking time to introduce this really exciting new product and a really exciting new way of communicating. Now, don't forget, if you want to ask questions at any point during the course of this morning, just drop us a line on the Facebook or the Zoom chat function, and I promise you we'll try to get to it at the end of these discussions. Now, I would like to welcome co-founder and executive director of Arkafort, Gordon Grech, who's going to explain the what, the how, and the why of cloud telephony and introduce us to Arkafort Redin.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to start off, obviously, by thanking you once again for joining us for the event, and we're really looking forward to this. We've been working for a number of months on this product, and we're kind of quite excited that we've come this far. The seminar is obviously about cloud telephony, but also telephony in general. So maybe I'd like to start off by discussing a bit why telephony is still relevant nowadays, because obviously, especially during the past year, we went through a lot of changes, and the way we communicate has kind of evolved. We're more and more relying heavily on platforms like Teams and Slack, and despite these platforms, their continued evolution, the telephony is still present. So maybe I've prepared a bit of a slide. Maybe I can start it. Yeah, okay. So yeah, is the telephone still relevant? And I'd like to start off from there. And I can say that it is. It is relevant. Okay, what's... all right. It is relevant, and the reason for that is that still nowadays, all over the world, billions of calls are processed each and every day. Okay, so despite all of the new technology and stuff, the phone has been around with us for many, many years, and it is the second most known way in which people interact. Okay, so right after talking in person, which again this year we've been a bit limited with that, but right after that comes the phone. People have been used to using the phone for many, many years, and customers and clients still expect to have a phone number which they can call if they need to and get their issues resolved as quickly as possible. Okay, so most interactions that cannot be solved through an email or through a chat or through all of these means usually end up getting solved through a call. Sometimes it's way easier to communicate just picking up the phone and ringing a number. So that's why obviously the phone is still very, very relevant in today's business environment. Having said that, most business phone systems are either really expensive to implement, okay, or else they are very, very complicated. Typically, we've been doing telephony for many years, and typically to set up a phone system, it's a long and extensive process. You need to analyze the requirements, you need to check how many extensions you've got, this and that. You need to pull in a lot of experts and a lot of this stuff. Either that or else it's really, really expensive. Okay, so generally speaking, vendors keep on adding complexity into their pricing layers, into how they structure their features and whatnot, always at a very, very hefty price tag. Despite that, organizations pretty much all over the world keep on investing millions and millions into these technologies for the simple reason that they understand that telephony is at the very, very foundation of how they interact and communicate with their clients. Okay, so not having a good phone system for many companies means losing a lot of business simply because a bad phone call, I mean not in terms of quality, but more in terms of how a phone call goes, could lead to losing a client. So that's why obviously there still is a very, very large market, and companies keep on investing really heavily into these phone systems. Okay. But obviously the topic of today's seminar is cloud telephony, and I'd like to explore a bit with you how we can use cloud technology in order to facilitate this process. Okay, so the reason why Arkafort exists, as we've maybe discussed and whatnot in the past, is to make sure that technology is as straightforward and as accessible as possible. Okay, we don't want to limit technology to just a few people. We want to make sure that everyone can benefit, can gain benefit from technology. And the way to do that is to make it as simple, as accessible, and as affordable as possible. Okay, so I'd like to discuss a bit how we can do that, okay, how cloud telephony enables businesses to leverage the benefits of telephony. First of all, through cloud technology, we are able to automate a lot of the business processes. Okay, so while in traditional telephony setups, things were quite a bit complicated. In order to implement something, you had to go through a lot of changes and stuff. Through cloud technology, through the simplicity which has been enabled by cloud technology, we can automate a lot of these operations without substantial effort, basically. Uninterrupted service, again, being a cloud platform, having something on the cloud means that you don't need to go into servers, you don't need to go into equipment, you don't need to go into the complexities of managing it and whatnot, and that usually leads to a way more reliable service. Okay, if the electricity goes out, nothing happens. If the internet goes out, nothing happens, simply because these systems are built to be fault tolerant, basically. Another benefit and another reason why companies should be shifting to cloud telephony is scalability. These systems can usually start from a single employee, a single person, and scale up all the way up to thousands of employees without the need to upgrade anything, without the need to do any maintenance or any downtime, nothing. So that's obviously another benefit, that as businesses grow, their phone system, their core communication system can grow with them with ease. And obviously, with all this reliability, with all this automation and stuff, it leads to better customer satisfaction, better client experience, and all of that. And ultimately, that is the goal of each and every business. And in all these ways, cloud telephony can help us get there. Now, next, I'd like to discuss a bit how we can do this. Okay, so cloud systems are usually based on the software as a service model. So what this means is that there are no upfront costs, there's no upfront commitment, there is no need to go into complex contracts and whatnot. It's usually just a simple system where you can log in and you can simply say, listen, I want to, for example, turn on the telephony feature for Justin, or I want to turn on the telephony feature for Chris, and that's pretty much it. And it works pretty much right out of the box. So that is one of the reasons how we can achieve that. The second reason is that obviously the second way of how we do it is obviously the telephony still happens. So instead of putting the complexity in front of the business owner, the complexity is hidden underneath the cloud platform. And then obviously in the background, there's all this automation and all of these features that we'll be discussing later on during the presentation, which are happening. The third reason, or the third way in which we actually do it, is that everything gets combined into one single system, and this is complemented with a very simple and very straightforward billing model. Okay, so again, to answer the why cloud, the reasons that we mentioned before, so scalability, automation, peace of mind, security. And how are these systems built? They leverage the benefits of the cloud platform, all of the technology and reliability of the cloud platform, and combine that with a simple, intuitive panel, control panel, and a simple and very easy to use and to understand billing model. Okay? Just one more thing. So we at Arkafort, we've been doing telephony for business for a number of years, and what we're about to present now is obviously the sum of all of this experience that we've put together over all of these years. We've already mentioned it, but I really want to thank all of our employees and all of the team members who are working literally day and night in order to make this happen. And obviously there's a lot more work ahead that we need to do to keep on improving these products. As some of you may know, the name of the product, or some of you might have guessed, the name of the product is Arkafort Redin. And for those who don't know it, the name Redin is inspired by the Redin Towers. And these acted as a vital communication link hundreds of years ago for the Maltese Islands, basically. And we wanted to use this name to pay tribute to our heritage. It felt quite consistent with what we're trying to achieve with the platform. So that's why we chose the name. Okay, so The whole idea behind the product is to make, obviously, communication as easy as possible, okay? And we're trying to achieve that in a number of ways. First and foremost, our main focus is usability. The product is still in its infancy, but we place a lot of attention when it comes to design and to user experience. We believe that people need to be able to understand technology. Technology needs to adapt itself to people, and obviously not the other way around. So we've placed a lot of effort into building an intuitive and very simple to use user interface, and we'll be, after this, demonstrating how you can set up your phone system in just a few minutes. The second way we're doing it, or anyway, the second kind of main feature or way how we're making communication easy is by enabling people to set up phones and other devices and telephony in a very easy and intuitive way. Again, traditionally, this is very complicated. You need to go through a lot of complications. You need to hire very specialized people who understand a lot of things about phones. We took a bit the other approach. So we took all of that away, and we try to make it as easy and as simple as possible to assign phones, to connect devices, and this and that. Obviously, having said that, this simplicity does not mean that we're cutting back on features and usability. The system is fully featured, and we'll keep on adding more and more features as we go along. But just to give you an idea, it's really simple, for example, to route calls to a specific department, or to say, listen, I'm open between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., and I want my calls to go to one specific group or one specific department between this time bracket, and then after that it goes to another extension, or it goes to a mobile number, or these kind of things. So these are really easy to implement. Having said that, the system is not limited to a specific set of features, so it can really do all of the advanced stuff as well. It can do call centers, it can do queuing, it can do all of this. But I'll be explaining a bit more about that in the coming slides. The next thing I wanted to discuss is the fact that it's really important nowadays that any device can connect to these kind of systems, and obviously we did a lot of work on that as well. Traditionally, phone systems, we think of the desk phone. We think of the desk phone where you press a number to get a line and then you dial out. That obviously has to change. We no longer live in the age of only the desk phone. We understand that some people like the desk phone, so desk phones are there to stay for those who like them. But obviously, the communication system has to be accessible on laptops, on tablets, on mobile devices, on pretty much anything, on all of the devices that we use on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so Arkafort Redin can be installed on all of these devices, and we're again constantly working on improving the user experience and the ease of use on these devices. But as of today, immediately, you can set up multiple devices. You can say, listen, I want Justin's phone to ring both on his mobile, on his tablet, and on his desk phone. And then, obviously, all of these devices ring, and you can pick up the call from whichever device you want. So that's another feature that we worked on. Next thing that we wanted to discuss is that usually one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to upgrading a phone system is to retain your phone lines and phone numbers and to get things connected and this and that. And it was really important for us because, remember, we come from the systems integrators. We've done a lot of these projects in the past. We wanted to make it as easy as possible for businesses to transition to Arkafort Cloud, because ultimately it's about upgrading the experience, not making it more difficult. So one of our top priorities is to make our platform as compatible as possible. And I can say that we've managed to do that quite well. I would not like to go into the technical details of how lines and phones connect and that kind of stuff, but it's important to say that there are some legacy technologies which are being phased out, and there are some newer technologies which are emerging or are becoming slowly mainstream. We did not say, listen, we'll just support the new stuff. Arkafort Redin can connect to any line. Okay, so there is no need to change. There's no need to do any changes in terms of lines, numbers, this and that. It can connect to pretty much any client's existing setup. We work really close with local partners. Today we've got Chris here from Epic, who will be telling us a bit about their story as well. And we try to make sure that our systems are compatible and 100% operational with all of the providers. Having said that, we have a number of providers and partners abroad as well. Okay, so for those clients who would like to expand their business overseas, we also can offer numbers and lines in over 60 countries. Usually this process takes a few days. So in order to get a number, for example, in the UK, it usually takes us a day or two to provision. However, we're working on automating it and making it available directly from the platform. That way our clients can simply say, look, I want a number from the UK. And in a few hours, they would have that number up and running and ready. The benefit of this is that obviously if, say, for example, I've got a lot of calls coming in from the UK and I want to give a more personalized experience to my clients, I can simply provision one of these numbers, get one of these numbers connected, and then I can route the calls to a specific department, for example, or to a specific extension. And that obviously gives me the flexibility to provide a more tailored experience to my clients overseas. So that's something that we have available as well, and we're working on as well. The next thing that I wanted to discuss, and this is something which we're quite excited about, is reporting, but I don't want it to sound, because reporting maybe is a bit of a boring word. But obviously, the system is capable of keeping reports of internal, external calls, departmentalized, duration, blah, 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 all of that. But we, during the years, did a lot of projects for contact centers, for companies who get a lot of incoming calls. We did some projects overseas and everything. And we've experienced that a lot of these companies which receive a lot of incoming calls spend a lot of time and effort on making sure that they're delivering the best client experience possible. Okay, this is usually a very, very time-consuming task because team leaders and other specialized people need to sit down, actually listen to calls, do something which is called call whispering. They actually listen into calls to make sure that the quality is there. Okay. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to simplify that process using technology. We've got Dr. Andre here who will be telling us a bit more about AI. But basically, the way that we're trying to accomplish this and the way that this is done is that calls through AI systems, they get transcribed into text, into searchable text. Okay, so you can, for example, build what we call word maps. Which word is being used most? For example, which words, excuse my pronunciation, but were standing out during the call, and these kind of things. And these all give very interesting insights into how calls are going and how that specific call went. Over and above, we do what is called sentiment analysis, which means that the AI tries to guess whether the call was really good, so-and-so, or sometimes even really bad. And then it kind of gives you an indication what you need to look at. Okay, so if you're getting a lot of these negative calls, then those are the ones that you need to listen to, or there's something that you need to work on in order to improve that. If they're all really going well, then you get, how can I say it, a bird's eye view of the performance of the I wouldn't say department, but you start to get a feel of how things are going. Obviously, technology AI is being constantly developed, and we expect that as time goes by, this technology will keep on improving and improving and improving, and obviously it will get more and more accurate. Obviously, Maltese is something that is not readily available. Excuse me. At the moment, we support about 6 or 7 languages, but we'll be working alongside Dr. DeMarco's team in order to try to get a working concept and have this actually work in Maltese as well. So that's something that we're really looking forward to. The next thing that I wanted to discuss is what's next. We don't like to see this as a telephony product, okay? So today we're discussing cloud telephony, yes, but really and truly what we are trying to build is a communications hub. And communications nowadays cannot live without instant messaging and chat, and cannot live without video, okay? So we already have some prototypes for chat, which are not generally available, but chat will be up next into the platform, and then we'll follow up with video. So these are things that we're working on. I also wanted to say, obviously, that this is kind of a baby product. It's still in its infancy, so to say, and we're constantly working like all of the other products that we have in order to improve them and make them better. So please feel free to use them, feel free to send us feedback. Our support team is available 24/7, and we're always really, really happy to get feedback from you guys and keep on improving our products. Next, before moving forward to the product demo, there's two other things which I would like to discuss. First of all, I'd like to also introduce another product which we have very recently released. It's called Vault, actually. And basically what this is, it is a secure digital storage. Okay, so it can be used to store passwords. For example, it can be used to store billing details such as credit card information and other sensitive information. It's not just a cloud system, because obviously security is really, really important in such cases when storing such information. And it uses the highest levels of digital security, okay? It uses something which technically is called client-side encryption, but what it basically means is that even though you've got all the flexibility of the cloud, so available everywhere from every device, blah, 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 not even we can see what information is stored into these vaults, okay? So behind the scenes, a set of keys get generated and whatnot, and these keys belong to the businesses. They don't belong to us. So not even we can peek inside these digital vaults. So that's something that we've released, and you're welcome to try that out. The next thing that I want to discuss, and this is something that we're really, really excited about. We have for the past few months been thinking about ways in which we can well, we wanted to reach out to new clients, let's put it this way. So it started off, listen, how can we reach out to new clients? But then obviously it quickly turned into, listen, can we combine this with something that, through which we can give something back? Okay, so we came up with this concept that we are calling Forever Free. Okay, it is a package, and what basically means is that this is Arkafort's commitment. This is our and all of the team's commitment to give all of Arkafort products for free for the first 2 users of any team member. Okay, it is a way in which our clients can try our products, but it is also a way in which we can assist micro businesses of 1 or 2 people to get started and get going, because obviously the reality is today that businesses which fail to embrace technology are really disadvantaged over those who manage to embrace it. Okay, so we want to facilitate that process as much as possible. So again, Forever Free, the first 2 team members will be eligible for this package forever. Okay, so there's no limitation on that. Small businesses will benefit because obviously if there's just only 1 or 2 people in that team, they will not be paying anything. But obviously the bigger businesses will get the first 2 team members for free. So it's something that everyone can benefit from. I'd just like to briefly touch on which products are already included into this package, and then we can move on with the product demo. So the first thing that we have included into it is obviously our digital vault. Okay, so clients can subscribe to Arkafort Cloud. They just have to join. We'll show you how to do it as well, and they can start using the digital vault. The second product that we have included is Redin, obviously. So it's what we're launching today. It was very important for us for it to be included into this package. The third thing that we wanted to include, and which we have included, is actually Microsoft 365. Okay, the reason why we're doing that is that, again, communication is really important, and these are tools that people use on a day-to-day basis, that our clients use on a day-to-day basis. So email is included, office applications are included, and so on and so forth. Feel free to send us over a message, and we can provide you with more information about that as well. The most thing which I'm really excited to announce is that we are also going to include our IT support. Okay, so we have a 24/7 help desk, which is available through chat, email, and obviously through telephony. That is unlimited remote support is also included with the Forever Free package. Okay, so anyone who would like to know more about this can just contact us, and we can provide more information about it as well. I think I've talked enough now. I'll leave it over to Glenn's presentation.
Well, Gordon, that is really exciting. And I have to say as well, just to add to that, the origins of the name Redin, I love it. Absolutely brilliant, and well done on that as well. But really exciting, and you raised a whole bunch of issues and areas that we're going to be hearing about a little bit later on. Before we get there, it's now time to see how Arkafort Redin really works. So Division Leader Glenn Shortino is going to guide us through with a video presentation showing how it works. So how to log in, how to find your way in the cloud, how to go about setting up Arkafort Redin.
Hi, my name is Glenn, and I am from the software development team here at Arkafort. Today, I'm going to show you a brief demo of our cloud telephony system, Redin. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start by creating an account on the portal, fill in the name and email, and click Next. This will send an email with an activation code. Click on the button to navigate to the activation page, where it will prompt you to enter your new password. Click Next. You will be prompted to agree to the terms and conditions and click Accept. This will automatically log you into the console. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and register our first SIP phone. Let's go to Redin, Extensions, and as you can see, Redin already created an extension for us for the default user. Let's go to the side panel view, where you will find all the extension relevant details, including the registration credentials. For the purpose of this demo, we'll be using MicroSIP, which is downloadable from the console itself. I've already installed it, so I will open it now. Go to Settings and add an account. And all I need to do now is copy the credentials. And click Save. Once that's done, in the bottom left corner of the SIP client, you can see that we are online. Now, before proceeding any further, also make sure that the SIP client is using the correct codec, which in this case, it is Opus 24 kHz. Hit Save. We'll wait for it to reconnect, and then we'll see that it's provisioned on the console as well. We can now place our first call. For this purpose, I invited some users into the system. As you can see here in the extensions, we have a number of users, of which 2 are online. If we go into the side panel view of the second user, we can see the relevant information and notice that it's registered using MicroSIP as well. Now, this particular user has an extension of 1007, so let's attempt a call. Let's open MicroSIP and dial in the extension number. And hit the call button.
Hi Gordon, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Fantastic, thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.
And it's simple as that. Okay, so let's go through some core functionality of the system. We go to Redin and lines. At the moment, lines and numbers are provided upon request with options to choose from over 60 countries. In this case, I've already set up a line. So let's go to the side panel view, and let's say that when somebody dials in this number, it rings on my extension. So let's go ahead and give this a try. We open MicroSIP and from an external phone, dial in that number.
Hello?
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 Now let's try an outgoing call and see if this works with the current setup. And as you can see, the call has failed. This is because we haven't defined yet what happens when we dial in an external number. So let's go ahead and do that now. we go to flows, add, input a name, we can call it outgoing in this case, define a pattern that will trigger this particular flow. We can set it so that it matches any 8-digit number and set the language to English in this case. I'll talk about these two switches later on in the video. And click Add. In the inner page of the flow, we can set what happens when this flow is triggered. In this case, what I'm doing is setting a connect call, which basically allows my extension to make external calls from that particular number. We can now save the flow and open microzip to attempt the call again. We dial in the number and hit call.
Hello.
And as you can see, with this basic setup, we can make and receive external calls. Let's say we want to use a physical phone instead of a SIP client. It's fairly simple. Just go to Redin, Phones, click on the Add button, and input the MAC address on the phone, and choose the brand. For the time being, the system only supports GNOME phones, as the current integration allows for them to work out of the box. However, in the near future, we'll be adding support for other brands as well. Now, once I click the Add button, we'll see that the phone has provisioned. Now let's go ahead and assign an extension to the phone. And that's it. Any calls made to that extension will now ring that phone. The system also supports queues, where you are able to assign extensions to take calls in a queue. Here I'm creating a queue for the sales department with the required configuration set up. Then all I need to do is assign the extensions that will belong to this particular queue. Once ready, we just click Add. Another set of interesting functionality within the flow section are the record and analyze switches. The record switch enables call recording on this particular flow, while the analyze switch enables call transcription and sentiment analysis on this flow. For the time being, the supported languages are English, Spanish, French, and Russian. However, we intend to integrate more languages in the future. Another very important feature within the flows is the time check node. What this node will do is route a specific incoming call to the defined extension, line, group, or queue, according to the time specified. So now I created a flow for which I will add this time check. All I need to do is click on the check time node, add the cases I need, and specify a time range for each case. I will then add a connect call for each case and connect the respective cases to each connect call. And like this, any call placed between 9 AM and 5 PM will be routed to my extension, while any call placed outside of that range will be made to the other extension.
And that's all from my end. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Wow. Glenn, this is amazing. I have to say I'm really excited because that was so simple, even I could probably understand that. Now, before we go any further, and we're going to be hearing from you a little bit more, Gordon, I do have some questions for you that have come in from our people that are joining us on Zoom and on Facebook Live. So first of all, I just want to ask you, what kind of businesses do you think are most likely to benefit from cloud telephony?
Yes, so the way we're trying to approach this is to make it available for each and every business. Again, traditionally, telephony is quite complicated, but we believe that if a business manages to offer good telephone support, then it has an advantage over the ones that don't. Because again, people sometimes feel more comfortable picking up the phone and calling. So I would say every business can benefit from this. obviously those businesses which already rely heavily on telephony, then the benefits of the product become even more and more evident. So those who maybe have legacy phone systems without the flexibility that we mentioned before, they can easily switch to Redin, and we can help them in setting it up and start leveraging its capabilities, obviously. But I invite each and every business to give it a shot. We'll be more than happy alongside Chris to set them up with a number and everything, and enable them to give great support to their clients over the phone as well.
Brilliant. I mean, that's really good for all businesses, which is fantastic news. But listen, I'm a technology skeptic, so
Okay.
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
We're looking at cloud technology, and this is something that I'm just starting to understand. I want to ask you, how secure is this system? I mean, we're talking about in the cloud. How secure is it really?
Cool. I'm really, really glad you asked this question. Actually, it's something that I wanted to touch base on, but forgot about it. We place a lot of importance on security. Okay, so one of the requirements that we have is that despite most devices can connect, all these devices have to support encryption. Okay, so all of our calls are fully encrypted. That is internal calls. If a call goes to a mobile number or to an international number, we don't have control over that, obviously. But when it comes to calls between the system itself, everything is 100% fully encrypted. Okay, we do not accept calls which are not encrypted for security reasons. And obviously, we take security very, very seriously. So we have layers on layers of security and firewalls and this and that in order to make sure that we're offering the most secure system possible.
Okay, so we've got a secure system that can be used by every business, is applicable to all businesses. It sounds really, really exciting. So what I want to ask you to do, if you don't mind, can you just introduce how we might be able to get involved and the Arkafort Redin offer?
Sure. So first and foremost, part of this webinar, we announced that anyone joining the webinar will be entitled to 1 year free subscription. That obviously is something which is will help people who are following us today. We'll send up a follow-up email with some more information, and whoever is interested in the product is eligible for 1 year free subscription on the product. But obviously, our communication channels are open on a 24/7 basis. So anyone can contact us through Facebook by sending us an email or going through the website and opening the chat. Those who want to simply register to the platform and start using it can do so. Those who require some more information, please feel free to open a chat or give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to assist.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we're going to be hearing some more questions because I've got some more questions coming in from you who are joining us on Zoom and Facebook Live. We're going to come to those in a few minutes. But just to remind you, if you do want to get in touch, if you have a question, put it to us and we'll try and make sure that we ask these gentlemen here and get you all the information that you need. Now, on top of that, we're also, just as you mentioned there, if you want to find out anything more about Arkafort Redin, there are links on the Facebook, on website, and these gentlemen and their team will be only too happy to help you and answer any questions, but also to provide the information that you need. But right now, I'm really excited to be joined by our first guest. Rosario Pizzana, Snoom Technology, is joining us online through Zoom. Welcome, Rosario.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar.
It's very, very exciting to have you here. I'm going to start by asking you, how could your business, Snoom, fit in a cloud solution to help remote workers with their products?
Okay, yes. You know, as also Gordon said, you really depend on your phone system every minute of really every working day. So your PBX may also be difficult to deploy, maintain, and use. And also an increasing of workloads every day is a frustration if you don't have a reliable system. As known, we support Arkafort, and for this reason, there was this partnership between us, and really, we complete a communication and collaboration solution. So we perform a zero-touch provisioning phone. So this is our solution. Sorry, I can see my presentation in the video. Because can you maybe, Sophia, show me? Because I can see my presentation. I only see my video. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, hi Rosario. We're just sorting out the technical issue. We can actually see your presentation.
I only see my video. I don't see the presentation. I needed to.
Okay, our team are going to get that right there.
Yeah, maybe also our guest.
We're seeing your presentation here, Rosario. We're seeing it just fine.
Okay. So maybe. Okay, so what we do for remote workers, I am at slide 3. So for remote workers, we for sure provision automatic provisioning. So we perform automatic provisioning. So really the possibility to bring your office phone at home. This is thanks to our OpenVPN integrated in our IP phones. So you can really bring home your phone or maybe make a simultaneous ring. So the possibility of making the simultaneous ringing between your office phone and your home phone. So this is a feature we provide. Also, as I told you, the possibility to maintain and reset your phone remotely. So for instance, if you are at home and you have some problem on your hardware phone, so Arkafort is able to provision, reset, and reconfigure your IP phone. Now something about the SNOM, who we are. So we have slide 4. We have more than 20 years of innovation and success in the VoIP phones market. So today we are leader. We are a German company based in Berlin. Headquarters is based in Berlin, and we produce really high quality and features business phones. So we produce hardware phones. We have today more than 4 million installed base globally, and everything is researched and engineered in Berlin, in Germany. So all our products comes with 3 years warranty, and this fits very well also the Arkafort proposition. Also regarding the RMA, today we have the lowest RMA rates in the industry, also thanks to the attention we put on our products. Okay, now on next slide, please, number 5. So, okay, also regarding our product, as Gordon said, security for us is really important. So all communication between our phones and cloud solution of Arkafort are completely encrypted. We also pay attention on our audio and our product. So we love to say German, really engineering for quality, durability, and security. Next slide, please. This is our complete portfolio. Yeah, so we deliver desk phones, desk mobility, conferencing, and headsets. So for every environment. Today, you know, an enterprise telephone must work really in a wide variety of business locations and situations. For instance, all reception area, call center, busy office, executive suite, warehouse, remote office. So in order to support all these requirements, SNOM really develops feature sets that will cover every possible office scenario. You have to consider today we have more than 700 settings that can be combined to really give you maximum effectiveness for your daily work. So these requirements will vary depending on the user's application, and you really need also customers' feedback. And for this reason, we continuously test and implement new feature on our sets. So our phones has to be used really in every environment. Next slide. This is our series. We call it the D7 series. We have black phones and white phones. Okay, I can go really in details on each phone, but just you have to know that we have several IP sets from entry level to top model. We start from fast Ethernet to gigabit switch integrated with several multicolor physical keys or self-labeling keys. All our sets from D715 have a USB integrator in order to connect some headset or, for instance, to charge your mobile phone. We have also possibility to add an expansion module, and Bluetooth is integrated in the top models, or you can have it via USB dongle. Next slide, please. For instance, the D7 desk phone, the top models today, we are the only one to have this first sensor support DP phones. So the phones have a sensor when you are answering a phone, so you are very close to the phone, the sensor automatically activated and changed the display. So shows you some key features, so you can immediately use all the features. Also, this sensor technology really is a user experience very good. Next slide, please. Also regarding the DECT communication for mobility, today we have several models. So we have one base station called M900. We can put up to 1,000 base station and really create a private, let me say, cellular network. Actually, it's not a cellular network, but it's a DECT technology network. But we support roaming at and over, and we can connect several handsets. Several handsets ruggedized military standard, so they are drop tested up 2 meters, and they have several features, IP65, for instance, protection rate, and other features. Next slide, please. Also, regarding conferencing, we produce this station for conference. You can pair this product with your mobile phone and just make an audio conference in a room. This is, for instance, for a huddle room. You can connect up to 12 people and make really a conference solution. So as is known today, we can really provide a complete portfolio, a complete hardware portfolio of IP phones, mobile phones in DECT technology, conferencing, headset. So we really support a complete portfolio for customers. So as I told before, today maintaining your PBX is really difficult. So for this reason, you need a complete solution just to let your remote workers or your employees to connect them very quickly and simply with reliable products. So this is what is known today in the market. Thank you very much. That's it.
Rosario, fantastic. Thank you so much. Can I just ask you one question before you leave us? And thank you so much for that presentation. Snom states that their products are designed for business. Now, we talked a lot about business. We talked a lot about communications. How does that differ? How do you define designed for business? And what are the essential assets of being able to deliver a good product for business?
Yes, as I told before, your really enterprise telephone must work really in a wide variety of business location. So for this reason, your telephone really should fit in every situation, in any location. You have to consider, for instance, a call center and busy office where the noise is very high, reception area, or for instance, warehouse, where really even there the noise. For this reason, you need to really think products to cover every possible office scenario. And this is thanks to our engineers that really every day they try to invent new features and also to react on the customer feedback. So we're really continuously testing to ensure and deliver new requirements with new products.
Rosario, that's fantastic. Thank you to Rosario Patanza for joining us from Snom. Don't go anywhere because we might be coming back to you with some questions. But right now, we're coming back to the studio, and I'm very excited because we're going to be talking to Christian Kermi from Epic. Christian, thank you for joining us today. I want to kick off with a really basic question because I'm fairly sure everybody knows who Epic is. But just in case they don't, can you describe Epic and the services that you offer?
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank Gordon and Justin for introducing me to this panel. I'm very, very happy to do so. Also, I would like to say a big well done for the Redin launch. I had a first-hand experience on it previously when they were testing it, and surely it's very impressive. So well done to you and your team for building this cloud platform. Yes, Epic Communication Limited. We just rebranded our brand basically just in November last year, and yes, we're very excited that we are going on this journey together with the big team behind Epic basically. So yes, I mean we're very excited. We're very excited to be on this done. So basically, Epic, which a lot of people used to be Vodafone, but now it's Epic Communications Limited. So it is not just a mobile telephony provider, but it's also a fixed provider where we do have several different services which we offer, mainly internet services. Cloud solutions as well, fixed telephony, which I will be talking about in more detail in my presentation here. So yes, we're basically that's who's Epic. So basically, I will be speaking about our fixed telephony platform, which we use SIP, and here we say that Epic. It's your business solutions partner after all. So how do we help the organization, the customer, to become more efficient, more agile? Just to put everything in, I mean, we have a global network reach and also local reach around Malta with our own fiber, with on-net fiber basically. So yes, so that is one of the things. We do have 2 subseas going up to mainland Italy with 2 POPs in Milan. So the system is quite reliable. So yes, we are more of a business solution partner. So we don't see our customer as our customers, but we see our customers as partners. So that's very, very important for us. So one thing which I will be talking about is the fixed multi-channel telephony, which works perfectly well with Redin. We offer SIP telephony, multi-channel services, with like our tariff starts from a 5-channel onwards. So basically, when I'm speaking with a 5-channel, I'm not going to be a lot technical here, but 5-channel means 5 concurrent calls at the same time. So basically, customer can have five going and incoming calls. If we get a scenario of let's say a company which is got different departments like marketing, sales, etc. The end user can call their main line, which is called the direct dial-in number, which we, by the way, give it also from our end. Either the customer can maintain the DDI, or else we do offer our DDI. So a call will go in. It will be welcomed by an IVR. It's called, like press 1 for marketing, press 2 for sales, press 3 for technology, for example. And you choose press 1. So that is one channel. So that is the channel which is being used. Then there are like 4 other vacant channels. Then there's the second call getting into the PABX system, and they want to reach out to the sales department, for example. So those 2 channels. In the meantime, you can still have and do outgoing calls. So this term multi-channel is that kind of term. So outgoing calls, incoming, and outgoing. So that is our aim. So basically, we offer SIP telephony, which works perfectly well with the Cloud PBX platform as well. It's essential for the Cloud PBX platform for a customer to have it, because we are the providers after all. So then we make use of cloud platforms like the Redin one, which, as I said before, it synchronized quite well with our SIP trunk. And obviously then customer can do the calls whatever they want. I mean, they can call incoming, outgoing, internal calls as well. So yes, so all of this stuff can be synchronized directly with the platform, and we'll use it normally. Basically, that's how it is. So I'm going to get into a bit of what's SIP, Cloud PBX. Basically, SIP, which I might say is the future, is the present, is the future. Adding VoIP over IP with SIP trunking allow more efficiency, allow the organization to be more, as I said before, agile, etc. So what the term which was used before, which is the ISDN, nowadays is being phased out. Everyone is changing to SIP, and you see a very big difference between what you get with an ISDN line, as Gordon and Justin can say, according to SIP. SIP is just voice over IP, so basically voice over the internet service. We do offer our SIP over our fiber connection, which that makes it more important as well, because nowadays fiber is very important to get into the building, so into the offices. So just okay. So yes, SIP allows you, as Gordon already mentioned, to email, messaging, chats, etc. So that's very important, and get it. So why choose SIP Cloud PABX? You will have a significant cost savings because you don't have any investment in front, which you need to buy a PABX sort of thing. So which might cost quite a lot of money nowadays. There's straight away immediate return on investment because you're not getting into costs. The SIP is scalable as well, so it's very scalable expansion. Twice the phone system that to the original feature. So as everyone, I mean, for half the price. So you can do more. You can do more features, as Gordon mentioned previously, reporting, etc. For half that price, or even for no price, basically at all. Reliability is very important nowadays, and for our customer, because you need to always be live, and because a lot of people use the phone, so though it's important for that. You don't need to have more physical equipment on site, so there is no need to be a PABX. If you want to go for a SIP telephony, for a for a headset instead of for a cloud, for a soft telephony instead of soft phones instead of hard phones. You can do that as well. So you can have both of them, both hard and soft phones. So that is very important for the customers. Very simple management that it's easy to use. Cloud PBX is very easy to use. There is no need to be, you don't need to be technical to use such platform. And with the help, obviously, of the supplier, of the PBX supplier, you can do everything whatever from your end. So you can get, you can make use of it very easy. And also allows hot desking and roaming. What does it mean? So basically, you can go anywhere, everywhere, with this SIP Cloud PBX. So you can install the software on the phone, on the laptop, even though, I don't know, you're on a business trip abroad, not now, but obviously, I mean, when we hopefully get back to normal. But yes, there's still we have business trips going on. But yes, you can take the laptop, you can use the fixed telephony at the office abroad, or you can use as well. Nowadays, we are seeing a lot of remote working. A lot of companies are going to remote working, and instead you can get that phone, that extension number which you have at the office, at your home, and you will be connected as you are at the office. So you don't see a lot of difference. So yes, so that's why to choose SIP Cloud PBX, and then some features which the Cloud PBX offers. We have multiple direct phone numbers, so we can give a DDI. An extension number 6+2 or 5+3, and the customer can make use of, and can be again synchronized with the platform. As I told you before, remote office with local numbers, so you can have remote office everywhere with the mobile nowadays and everything. Call records, details of call records. So HD quality. So the difference between ISDN, which I mentioned before, and SIP is the quality of service and the efficiency is much more better than the old system. So HD call quality, and as Epic we also give HD call quality, and the monitoring of the SIP trunk. So it's important that SIP is monitored 24/7, because if something happens on that, you need to speak to the customer, and obviously you need to let them know that the SIP trunk is down. Last and not least, why choose us as Epic on the fixed telephony service? Maybe out there they don't know that we offer the fixed telephone, but now they know. So we do have automatic failover routing. So basically, everywhere in Malta we have like a redundant setup all the time. So we have two DCs, one mirrored against each other. So if something happens on one, we still keep on going with the second one. So that is very important for us. And for the customer as well, because customer needs to keep on going nowadays, cannot afford to stop. A customer cannot afford to stop nowadays. We depend a lot on internet, we depend a lot on SIP telephony. So it is important, absolutely important for the customer to have redundancy in the same place. So, yes. So we also monitor fraud prevention from our end. So there's a 24/7 fraud department who are monitoring international fraud prevention, SLA on all the services. So we have a minimum of SLA of 99.5% on all of our services at Epic, being internet, being fixed, being cloud, being everything. So there's an SLA in place all the time. Obviously, we ensure that reliability and efficiency need to be always there. We thrived under that. I mean, we're famous for that, Epic. So we're famous that we do have that kind of thing. So we do have a global network. So the company is not, it's globally connected, not just locally, basically. Quality of service always guaranteed. And last and not least, a 24/7 state-of-the-art service management center. The same as Gordon do have and Justin do have at Arkafort, where they do have the NOC department. We do also have the 24/7. We speak very like together. So that is essential. That the service which you have is being monitored. So yes, I mean. That's all from my end. Hope you enjoyed the slide. Should you want more information, just I can give the information and we can send it out. I speak with Gordon and Justin like every day, especially with Justin. I mean, Thanks for being here. I mean, thanks to you, and I really appreciate the time here. And again, well done for the launch.
Well, Chris, before you finish, I'm just going to ask a couple of questions because, first of all, you mentioned that Epic customers are referred to as partners.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
indeed. That's me. I'm one of them. But on top of that as well, you also mentioned SIP. We've talked about SIP an awful lot. I'm going to be a little bit geeky here and just ask you, what is the acronym for?
So it's IP telephony as such. So
Okay.
the synchronizes that's why it's SIP, service over IP.
There you go. That's what I need to know.
So yes.
You see, and I am a little bit behind on these things, so
That's
I'm
okay.
also going to ask you that service support, customer service support, 24/7. So if
is.
somebody decides that this is the solution that they want, they're going to be able to come to you guys at Epic, and you will assist them right along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, there's us in the commercial department. There's also a technical department. So any questions that customer might have can reach out to us and can reach also to the technical department as well, which is 24/7 being monitored.
I do want to congratulate Epic because as a long-standing customer for 16 years, I've always had excellent customer service.
Thank you
so
for
thank you
that.
very much. I think
Appreciate
Gordon
that.
wants to add something there. I asked for the acronym.
Yeah, so it's actually Session Initiation
Initial
Protocol.
yes.
I love the way
It's a
he jumped in there and put you right back. Listen, thank you so much, Chris. Please, we've got some more questions, I'm sure. We've got questions coming through. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us on Zoom, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can come to us, ask questions on the chat function anytime you want. But I'm very excited because there's a gentleman on the panel here who's been patiently waiting. Dr. Andrea DeMarco, it's your turn for questions. And thank you so much for joining us. Now, I'm really excited because on top of everything that we've heard, going back to something that Gordon mentioned earlier on, we're going to be talking about AI. And AI, I should imagine for a lot of people like myself, is one of those topics that are just a little bit suspicious about, a little bit skeptical about. So again, if there's any questions, if anybody wants to ask anything, do get in touch on the platforms there. Now, we've also talked about Maltese. We're going to come to language issues in a second, but I want to ask you, first of all, how far has AI developed in terms of speech and speech function? Is this voice analysis problem solved?
So this question basically comes up every 5 years or so in the field, and every time we answer the same way, speak to me in 5 years' time. And it's not because the field hasn't advanced. It's advanced a lot to a point where it is very much usable, but the goalposts are moving. They're shifting, and we always expect more out of what AI can deliver. And I think over the last 5 years, if I can use the 5-year window again, it's come to a point where we literally use AI in most of the products without even knowing that there's AI involved, especially when it comes to speech and video processing. So we'll talk about speech more over here. So, if you use a smartphone over the last 10 years, then you've definitely used some form of AI. If you have a smart home speaker like Alexa, it's been listening to you for ages and learning from the way you habitually speak at home. It knows how many family members you have. It knows what your likes and tastes are. It knows what your emotion might be during a certain time of the day and suggests music for that. So AI is very much usable. It's a bit transparent, which is what we want. It has to be sort of a symbiotic relationship where there's no, it doesn't sort of pounce on you and say, no, I'm a robot and I'm here to take over your life. It's there to adjust and learn as it's going along. So definitely, it's happening.
But you just mentioned just then, you mentioned Alexa, you mentioned these AI applications, and you mentioned the fact that if you've got a smartphone, at some point you've been integrating with AI over the past 10 years. So I want to ask you, are there privacy issues when it comes to AI and speech? Because this is one of the areas that concerns me. So what is the way forward in implementing this technology and still respecting and retaining client privacy?
Privacy has been a big issue in AI over the last years, specifically because of data collection and users not exactly knowing what data is being collected and how it's being used. Now, there's a bit more clarity today as to what is happening, and some of the big names in AI, like Google, Facebook, have had to retreat a little bit on what they usually did with your data. the core tenet of AI is that it needs data, it needs experience to learn. So there's no way you can have an AI system without having a sufficient volume of data being collected. What the effort is being pushed at is to stage and store as little as necessary of the data as you need, in a way that the data is anonymized. It is coded in such a way that we no longer need to store the actual raw speech or video information anymore. So there's no way sort of any user, anybody working in these companies can go back and look at this data and sort of listen to it and spy on you. It's all being number crunched as it's coming in, and we'll talk a bit about how the cloud and the cluster computing has a big aspect of that. And there's always a balance that needs to be reached. The expectation of privacy from users, which is legitimate and important, and also the very beneficial part of AI, which is the more data it's given, the more performant it's going to be.
So I don't need to worry.
Not yet.
I'll leave that for later. Can you just let me know when I need to start worrying? Listen, Dr. Andrea, I just want to ask you something else. We've talked a little bit about Maltese as well, and anybody who understands Maltese and speaks Maltese will know that it is difficile Hafner. Can these AI speech technologies be applied to, for instance, Maltese?
The technologies that have been developed have, of course, been developed historically on the major languages of the world, in particular English and Spanish, because they're the two most spoken languages. And it's no coincidence that probably Arkafort also integrates these two languages as part of the initial set. Maltese comes in later not because of the technology itself, but because of the amount of data we have collected historically was always snippets of speech data, not necessarily for AI use. And this exercise has started a couple of years back at the university, and we now are in a position where we have actually a lot of data that has been sanitized, tagged with rich information, and we are using the latest frameworks to be able to implement AI for Maltese. It's not there yet, it's a work in progress, but we've gone from literally zero to something that can be used in a sort of limited fashion for now. So we're talking about systems that can transcribe speech. We're talking about systems that can speak back to you in the same way Siri or Alexa speaks back to you, with a Maltese voice, natural sounding, and up to 2 years ago, none of this really existed. So the last few years have been quite, we've given it a big push.
Well, this is really exciting, but of course, Maltese as a language is also evolving. And it evolves every day. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago, and it probably won't be the same as it will be in 10 years' time. How much R&D is needed? How much research and development is needed to take this element of AI to where we see on other countries and other languages?
It will take a few more years, I think. When it comes to Maltese evolving as a language, it's not a particular issue in the sense as long as you have this AI system which is active and which is continuously learning from new ways of speaking, new vocabulary being introduced. That's fine. We have, one of the things that we've done in the university is we've established ways where data that is being used and is in Maltese can be fed into the system for it to learn a bit more about the way the language is changing. So we anticipate that over time, our AI can learn enough to be able to reach the same level of performance as it does with English or Spanish or Russian or German.
That's amazing. Well, listen, I'm going to remain a tiny bit skeptical, but I'll wait for you to tell me when I need to worry about these things. But in the meantime, thank you ever so much indeed, Dr. Andrea De Marco. I've got some questions have come in, and we're going to just wrap up with that this morning. And these are for these two gentlemen, for Justin and Gordon, people that have been excited and gotten really excited about these technologies. And thank you, gentlemen, for explaining it all to us. There is one question that's come in has said, are you backed by certification?
Hello? Yes, so basically we're constantly working on our certifications and accreditations and all of that. We can look at this in two ways. Obviously, our staff is trained and fully certified and whatnot, but we also invest quite heavily in certifying our operations and our business. So Justin mentioned it briefly before. We operate a data center in Malta, what we call N+1, which means basically it's fully redundant. Okay, we have multiple power sources, multiple internet sources, this and that. And anyone interested is free to come over and visit. And this data center is certified in terms of PCI, which is the payment processing certification, kind of, and also ISO 27, which is the information security certification. So yes, again, we take security really, really seriously. So it's all there.
Oh, that's brilliant, brilliant news. Well, another question, and we'll finish with this morning.
Sure.
If a business wants to switch to cloud telephony,
Okay.
will Arkafort assist? How much support can you offer?
Yes. Yes. Again, we're here to facilitate technology. We're here to make it available to pretty much anyone. So just feel free to reach out, and our technicians and engineers will be way more than happy to assist you, give you a helping hand, and we can be involved at each and every level of the process. So we can
Brilliant.
give a helping hand if required. We can assist with the process from A to Z. So.
Fantastic. One last question. I said last question, but one
No, it's
question has
fine.
come in from Zoom, and I want to ask this because it's something that's on my mind as well. And this one is to Andrea. Andrea, what things can be done with AI? What's the scope of that is being done with AI right now?
Okay, so when it comes to speech processing, assuming, of course, there's a huge infrastructure which Arkafort seems to be taking care of, and I'm glad, I'm invited because this is where AI can come in when there's a platform that can supply us with data. Usually we think of speech as just transcription and synthesis, which is transcribing speech to text, and we can sort of analyze this text, or else synthesis where we generate artificial speech. But there's a lot more that is being done that is also independent of language, and this is something that can be developed now, here now, for any language because it's independent of the language. One example is, we mentioned earlier sentiment analysis. The parallel to that in speech is emotion analytics or behavior analytics. So, can you tell whether a person is angry on the phone and whether this call should, perhaps be flagged for analysis by, later on by the QA team, so to speak? And yes, we can tell whether somebody is angry or happy or neutral. We can tell whether the agent is sort of hesitant and stuttering and sort of doesn't really know exactly, what the solution to the problem is. And we can detect these instances and count them over a phone call. We can build metrics, how performant is the agent in this particular call. We can also, if your infrastructure is recording a phone conversation between initially two people, the agent and the caller, but eventually it gets passed on to another agent for whatever reason, we can sort of detect how many speakers overall were involved in this call. In much the same way as I know that there's 5, 6 different people because of the different style of speaking that we have. And all of this can be done without depending on knowledge about Maltese or English or Spanish. It can be done readily with AI today.
This is absolutely amazing. It's been a really exciting morning this morning, listening to everything that has been put forward. And I want to say a final thanks to everyone who's joined us on Zoom and everyone who followed us on Facebook Live. Thank you so much indeed. To all of our speakers this morning, it's been a really exciting morning of talking about technologies, talking about Arkafort Redin, which sounds like it's revolutionizing communications. Also, a huge thank you to Valletta Campus Theatre for hosting us here today, and to our Arkafort team members, and of course, last but not least, to our valued clients. Until next time, stay safe and stay connected.